Hello guys, my name is Anna and I vlog daily from Ukraine since the beginning of brutal Russian invasion, and I believe that together we will witness Ukrainian victory and its further rebuilding. If you support Ukraine and you want to know more about my country, please subscribe. I am not a professional military expert or a politician, but I am a professional Ukrainian living in this totally extraordinary and unpredictable environment. Daily we witness lots of tragic stories, but also lots of heroic and inspirational ones that make me convinced we will win this war. And one of such events took place tonight in Crimea after the explosion of part of Kerch bridge. And let me explain you and remind those of you who follow me why it is so important and why Crimea bridge, all Crimean bridges and roads are legitimate targets. But I would like to start with a little bit of fun, because for months after the first attack on Crimean bridge in October 2022, Russian media was spreading information that Kerch bridge is totally under control because it is patrolled by fighter jets from above and fighter dolphins from underneath. Imagine what is going on in Crimea. But today, a serious part of this bridge was destroyed, and logistic chain as a result suffered seriously. There were huge traffic jams, panics, and other things. But let us return a little bit back in time, and I would like to clarify why it is so important destroying bridges in Crimea. Crimea is Ukraine. It was annexed back in 2014, and it was a huge mistake of Ukraine and global leaders who were advising us not to escalate. Russia is a bully. It only understands the language of power. And if you demonstrate that no, it doesn't work like that, it can listen to you. But if you accept the rules, they continue playing against the other rules. And of course, this weak reaction of Ukraine and democracies of the world to the annexation of Crimea was treated by Putin as a blessing to continue. And in the result, he was developing Crimea as a military database. It was pretty militarized back in Soviet times. Instead of being a beautiful resort, one perhaps of the most picturesque locations in this part of Europe with subtropical climate, by the way, today it is a depressive military base with, I don't know, rotting warships. And I've been to Sevastopol once when I was at school, and I was surprised with the color of water. It's very rusty because of these old Soviet warships standing there. And hundreds of thousands Russian military came to live there, and of course they created this extremely toxic orc background for lots of actions that now start in Crimea. So once again, instead of being a beautiful resort, a place of tourism, Russians turn everything into their Ruski Mir approach, destroying, preparing military bases and spreading hatred. So Crimea is a perfect logistics base for Russian, and they use it to supply people to Ukrainian front lines. They use it to supply weapons, and they use it to supply other provision like food, medication, or whatever they need. So to be able to conduct counteroffensive and to clean Ukrainian territories from Russian orcs, of course, we have to break their chains of logistics. And Crimea here is one of the most important orc hubs. Perhaps orc hubs cannot exist. So they use it to bring new forces, to strengthen their positions, and all of that. So for our successful counteroffensive, we do need to break this connection between Crimea and very likely those Russian soldiers who dug themselves deep in the lands of Zaporizhia, Mykolaiv, created lots of lines of defense, and now it's pretty difficult to conduct counteroffensive against them because they mined everything. They will need to retreat if they don't get food, if they don't get other men to substitute them, and this is actually one of the tasks of the Ukrainian counteroffensive. So what happened tonight and who is responsible for that? We don't know for sure, and as in many successful military operations, it's very likely that we will never know. The operation in October 2022 was conducted by SBU, so it's very possible that this one was also coordinated by them. The destructions were caused by the explosions of 2 above-water drones, and somehow fighter jets and fighter dolphins did not manage to prevent that. And as a result, huge traffic jams occurred. Part of Crimean bridge is not working, and it is qualified as a terrorist act by Russians, the terrorist state of Russia, which is like really funny. And the main task of such actions is to break logistic chains for Russia, which are important because to be able to continue this war, they need people, they need supply, they need weapons, and Crimea is used for that. And I hope that in future many countries realize like learn the lesson of Ukraine. If you see that someone is violating your borders, someone is violating international laws, always react, because authoritarian regimes like Russia, like China, they do not understand this like diplomatic negotiations, mutual respect and tolerance, humanism. They laugh at all of these beautiful terms. I don't mean that we have to repeat after them, but we have to know our enemy, and it's impossible to fight with them according to these high standards of our societies. We have to look down and we have to adapt, because they are terrorists and what they do is terrorism. Some people tell me you have to be more positive, but guys, this is war. Russians came to my country without any reason, and they started by bombing and killing everyone. I am also a target for them. Every place in Ukraine is dangerous. They have killed hundreds of thousands of our people. They continue doing it. They continue destroying everything, and their task is to erase the culture. So it's not about trying to understand, it's about trying to survive. And after we survive, after we win, we will have time to look for like 10 good Russians in 140 million country. But not now. And yes, war unfortunately is about killing, and that's the way to survive for Ukrainians. It was not our choice. We were sleeping at dawn in February 2022, not expecting that such bullshit is possible, but because of Putin and population that supports him for so many years, this is what we have. Also, I would like to say that Ukraine remembers and Ukraine mourns the victims of MH17 catastrophe, once again caused by a Russian terrorist regime. 298 people died. Russia lied continuously, but the Court of Netherlands, having learned all the materials, proved once again that Russia is a terrorist state. And we need to end this war with the victory of Ukraine and its allies, because as long as this war continues, every place on planet is actually dangerous, because Russia is a terrorist state, nothing else. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for buying me coffees and becoming my patrons. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you support Ukraine, and join our beautiful community of friends. And introduce yourself to our merch store. The link to my Twitter, Instagram, and everything that you might need is below this video. Slava Ukraini!